Radio.
Tranquil blue, out where the friendship a little true, that's where the West begins. Out where the pressure breeze is blowing, out where there's laughter in streamlets flowing, where there's more of reaping and less of sowing. That's where the West begins.
Radio? Oh no, we don't have no radio around these parts. This here is a simple land filled with simple people. Peaceful, ain't it? Well, don't be a stranger there. Go on, pull yourself up a chair. I can see you've been traveling far. Must have been anyways. Ain't no other way to get out into these parts. You know, I thought I'd be having some company tonight. Yep, I can always tell when I'm gonna be having some company over, 'cause I get me the urge to come on out and just let a little bit of music roll out over all this nothing. More often than not, something like you happens to pop on back out of that self-same nothing. And well, shit. Here we are, I guess. Oh shit, nearly forgot introductions. I'm Joe. Average Joe, people call me. When there's people. And when they want to call me, I suppose. I'm sure you've got a name. We'll get there. Probably. But first, I got specific instructions. Hold on. Assume mantle of folksy elder. Check. Welcome, stranger to great expanses of nothingness. Check. Shock, belittle, and or horrify stranger with tales of terror and madness. Not check. Okay, so I gotta do a little sort of creep show type thing for you. Okay, and I did not prepare. Let me tell you that right now. So this is gonna, you know what? This could be good. It really could be. It really could be. Ah, damn it. Okay. Any help would be appreciated. You don't have to, but come on. There's only two of us. Be a pal. You scared of anything? What gets ya? Spiders, snakes, ghosts, inability to escape personal demons of your own creation. Clowns. Is it clowns? Fuck. Alright then, hold on. Let me try something. I got a couple of masks back here. I'm gonna pop one of these on and we'll just kind of see what happens, huh? Here, hold this. Hold on a second.
Togetherness, a parable.
two lovers met one another in a town that was more sand than substance and found themselves with the unbridled need to get married that penetrates those young and in love and, well, stupid. And as is the way of these things, these two lovers turned the fire of their passion into a mess of children that grew up and moved away. And really, it didn't seem like more than a quick flip of the calendar that these two lovers found themselves abed one evening, hair whitening as fast as their joints were aching, and the two of them discussing what, if anything, was to become of the lack of passion that had invaded their lives. An idea was set forth, the sort of idea that would naturally rear its little head during a conversation like this, but also the type of idea that always seems to make itself known with all the grace of a gopher on roller skates. The idea was thus, that one of the lovers, coincidentally the same person that happened to have the idea in the first place, but that I'm sure is absolute happenstance and nothing more, one of these lovers would find a fine young specimen of beast or man and give themselves over to the carnal pleasure that was once something near sacred. All talk ceased. The clock ticked a steady rhythm. 2 puffs of smoke left a well-worn pipe. And a few words were spoken to deliver the pregnant pause. You will do what you will do, and I will do what I will do. Another 2 puffs of smoke left the well-worn pipe. The clock continued to tick its steady rhythm. And there was no more talk for the rest of that evening. It was almost 7 months later to the day when one of these lovers gently dabbed the corners of their mouth with a cloth, took a sip of water, and proceeded to tell the other lover one of the most graphic tales of sexual debauchery that had been uttered in that country before or since. The other lover received it roughly as well as could be expected. A small reduction in chicken consumption, as well as a murmur of acknowledgement from behind the same newspaper that had been read that morning. That same evening, the two lovers were laying beside each other in bed. All talk had ceased. The clock maintained its steady rhythm. 2 people looked at a dark ceiling, saying nothing. And then, one lover rose, grabbed the handgun from inside the nightstand, put it between their teeth, and managed to pull the trigger 3 times, once standing and twice reflexively on the floor, where they found themselves shortly thereafter. One person looked at a dark ceiling, saying nothing. The clock, shattered by a bullet fired from the floor, rested. And there was no more talk for quite some time.
I'll tell you once and I'll tell you again if you ask for it. That voice hurts the living fuck out of my throat. Where's that drink? Where the hell? There we go. That's it. That's the good stuff there. So what are you thinking? Why'd you, it's not that I'm not happy for the company. I mean, hell, it's a bit desolate out here when it comes to good times. Unless, of course, you weren't looking for good times. Unless, of course, you were having yourself a whole mess of bad times. Unless, of course. No. Hey. Where do you think you're going now? Can't be going nowhere at this time. See the sun? Heading on down And you've got nothing around here but sand and shitty decisions, and the biggest one of those will be heading out into that fucking stretch of wasteland when you don't have the sun on your side. Here, take this. It's a mouth harp. And whoever named it got it about half right. A lot to do with the mouth, not much of a harp really, but I suppose nobody's perfect. You just kind of hold it between your teeth with that dangly bit sticking out in the front. Slap that little sucker back and forth, pretend like you're talking, and bing bang boom, you got music. Try it. Go on, try it. Alright, fuck you, you fucking coward, I'll do it. And you just sit there and listen and think about what you've done.
I noticed the sand at the same time I noticed the patterns in the cars parked at the intersection. Just walking to work, normal day. Few clouds, but nothing crazy. And I could swear that I had seen the exact same lineup of cars the day before. Red SUV, black pickup with a dent in the door, white hatchback with a roof rack. That one, I remember especially, because of the rhyme. Hatchback with a roof rack. Hatchback with a roof rack. Hatchback with a roof rack. And I'm puzzling about this and rhyming in my head, and I notice the fine sand is absolutely everywhere on the sidewalk. It kept getting kicked up by my heels and making its way into my socks. I'm a bit of a creature of habit. One way to work, one way home. Shopping on Sunday, call Dad Tuesday evenings. It's a comfort. The fact that my way to work might have sand on it from now on was distressing. Mildly distressing, but distressing. The next day I was paying closer attention to the sand. There seemed to be even more of it, but maybe I just hadn't noticed. And I looked up a few seconds after the light changed. I guess I'm trying to justify a bit of skepticism. I didn't get a good look, is what I'm saying. But still, as they drove off, I'm pretty sure the lineup of cars went red SUV, black truck, white hatchback. Quite possibly even with a roof rack. Hatchback with a roof rack. Hatchback with a roof rack. I was on my guard the next day. I was ready. I even put plastic bags over my shoes, and I'm glad I did, because there was definitely more sand. No doubt about it. It had even started to make little piles in the grass. Little dunes. But that didn't matter quite as much as the line of cars at the intersection. A red SUV, a black pickup with a dent in the door, and of course a white hatchback with a roof rack. They all drove off, and when I looked behind me I could see that the gentle breeze had already begun to cover my footprints with a fine dusting of sand. The day after that was upsetting. The sand was deep enough that I had to kick it out of my way with every step. And even though I used my plastic bag trick again, every time the wind blew, it seemed like the sand was finding its way into every sweaty nook and cranny that it could. Absolute misery. The line of cars, red, black, white, just always left deep tracks in the sand covering the street. I wondered how they managed to see any of the lines on the road, but just as quickly remembered that I was walking on the sidewalk that I couldn't see except in my footprints and scuff marks, so I let that thought drift off. As the cars pulled away, the white hatchback with the roof rack spun its wheels in the sand before gaining traction and weaving slowly on its way. By the end of the week, my daily walk had become a trek up a massive sand dune. My plastic bag shoes were entirely useless. When I reached the spot that I knew to be the buried intersection, I saw, all in a line, 3 small boys on a 10-speed bike. A red bike in front, a black bike with a bent handlebar, and, in the rear, a small white bike with a basket. They gave me a cheerful wave, and I returned it in kind, and off they rode, throwing sand behind them, seemingly unbothered by the incline or unsteady ground. I'd go back that way again, but I ended up getting a new job on the other side of town, so my daily walking route had changed. And I just don't really have the time. Sometimes I wear the plastic bags on my shoes, though. So, I remember.
Now see, that's why you don't want to be wandering around out there. Listen! Lot of nothing out there. Lot of fucking nothing. And if you don't want to turn into a piece of that nothing yourself, you'll listen real careful to old Joe when he tells you to do or not to do something. But hey, it's your choice. Free country. Free enough anyway. Hold on. Hold on right now. Come here. I said get over here. Let me see your eyes. Don't you squint at me. Open them wide. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Okay, now you do it. Here, I'll even hold them open. Look deep. You see that? You see what I'm saying? It's like a little mirror, isn't it? Like a little tiny mirror set into each one of my eyes. Can you see yourself? Wave to yourself. Yeah, like that. Now look at what's behind you. Not in reality. Damn it. Look. Use the eyeball mirrors. Look in my eyes and look over your own shoulders at the same time. What's that you see there? What's that behind you? Because it sure isn't desert. And now what might that mean? What might that mean?
Conditioned emotional reactions, 1920. We decided finally to make the attempt, comforting ourselves by the reflection that such attachments would arise anyway as soon as the child left the sheltered environment of the nursery for the rough and tumble of the home. One of the 2 experimenters caused the child to turn its head. The other, stationed back of the child, struck the steel bar a sharp blow. The child started violently. His breathing was checked and the arms were raised in a characteristic manner. On the second stimulation, the same thing occurred, and in addition, the lips began to pucker and tremble. On the third stimulation, the child broke into a sudden crying fit. 11 months, 3 days. 1. White rat suddenly taken from the basket and presented to Albert. He began to reach for rat with left hand. Just as his hand touched the animal, the bar was struck immediately behind his head. The infant jumped violently and fell forward, burying his face in the mattress. He did not cry, however. 2. Just as the right hand touched the rat, the bar was again struck. Again the infant jumped violently, fell forward, and began to whimper. 11 months, 10 days. 1. Rat presented suddenly without sound. There was steady fixation, but no tendency at first to reach for it. The rat was then placed nearer, whereupon tentative reaching movements began with the right hand. When the rat noticed the infant's left hand, the hand was immediately withdrawn. He started to reach for the head of the animal with the forefinger of the left hand, but withdrew it suddenly before contact. 2. Joint stimulation with rat and sound. Started, then fell over immediately to right side. No crying. 3. Joint stimulation. Fell to right side and rested upon hands, with head turned away from rat. No crying. 4. Joint stimulation. Same reaction. 5. Rat suddenly presented alone. Puckered face, whimpered, and withdrew body sharply to the left. 6. Joint stimulation. Fell over immediately to right side and began to whimper. 7. Joint stimulation. Started violently and cried, but did not fall over. 8. Rat alone. The instant the rat was shown, the baby began to cry. Almost instantly, he turned sharply to the left, fell over on left side, raised himself on all fours, and began to crawl away so rapidly that he was caught with difficulty before reaching the edge of the table. 11 months, 15 days. 1. Tested first with blocks. He reached readily for them, playing with them as usual. This shows that there has been no general transfer to the room, table, blocks, etc. 2. Rat alone. Whimpered immediately, withdrew right hand, and turned head and trunk away. 3. Blocks again offered. Played readily with them, smiling and gurgling. 4. Rat alone. Leaned over to the left side as far away from the rat as possible, then fell over, getting up on all fours and scurrying away as rapidly as possible. 1 year, 21 days. The rabbit. The animal was placed directly in front of him. It was very quiet. Albert showed no avoiding reactions at first. After a few seconds, he puckered up his face, began to nod his head, and to look intently at the experimenter. He next began to push the rabbit away with his feet, withdrawing his body at the same time. Then, as the rabbit came nearer, he began pulling his feet away, nodding his head, and wailing, "Da, da." After about a minute, he reached out tentatively and slowly and touched the rabbit's ear with his right hand, finally manipulating it. The rabbit was again placed in his lap. Again he began to fret and withdrew his hands. He reached out tentatively with his left hand and touched the animal, shuddered and withdrew the whole body. The experimenter then took hold of his left hand and laid it on the rabbit's back. Albert immediately withdrew his hand and began to suck his thumb. Again, the rabbit was laid in his lap. He began to cry, covering his face with both hands.
Well, this is certainly a departure. It was the second time he and I had done something like this, at least together. Together it was a different experience, an elevation of what we had already come to know. We walk in, it's this dimly lit dumpster of a little pissant place. There was a crowd. Oh, baby, was there a crowd. We get right up to the front of the room. We sit there, we wait, twiddle our thumbs, play with our Peters, waiting. Sort of like this hush around us. Right up front, this badass, beautiful babe, standing right there. Probably a good 20-30 minutes straight, just screaming right at us, and we are loving it. We're kind of looking around, being like, yeah, I'm feeling good. You feeling good? Someone offers to sneak me a beer, but being the nice, polite, underage little rat that I was, I decided not to partake on this particular night. This was shit that was completely new to me, but boy, oh boy, was I invested in what these motherfuckers had to say. And at this point in the night, you feel the energy. Sense it. You're making friends with strangers. You're hugging people you just met. And everyone's telling me, oh, just you wait. Just you wait. And right there, in the whole crowd, let's just say I begin to leak. And leak. And leak. I try to compose myself. I close my eyes. I inhale. Take a little sigh. When I open my eyes, there's no sound. There's nobody. And I have become lost and doomed to this quite literal shithole purgatory. With nothing but my thoughts of what could have been.
I ain't never was a desert. Need you to start understanding that. You can't get away from this shit by burying it under a pile of sand and dust and nothing. It's still there. You're still there. There's a field with grass blowing gently, and a great blinking tower. Iron scaffolds supporting the voices that you hear. Transmitting. Always transmitting. You can't stop it. You'll never stop it. All you can do is try to understand it. Try to withstand it. Around Wolf Mountain, there ain't no such thing as a desert. No time for that bullshit. I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you right now. Genuine Radio Broadcast DSRT-665.
Genuine Radio is voiced by Joe Hanson, Kris Northcutt, Edward Hoffman, Monte D. Monteleagre, Edie Pierce, Alice Stilwell, and Raimy O. Washington. Genuine Radio was created by Alexander Wolfe and is a production of Wolf Mountain Workshop. Tune in. Breakdown.